Hi, I'm Keisha, and today in RPT News, we have here Jada Mann and Louis Marge from Zero Gun Violence Movement. Now tell me a little about yourself.
Well, hi, Keisha.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
So my name is Jada Mann. I'm a hip hop artist, and I do a lot of work in the community, in the inner cities.
Yeah, my name is Louis March. I'm the founder of the Zero Gun Violence Movement, which is a collaboration of over 40 different organizations, agencies, programs across the city of Toronto that are committed to reducing gun violence within the city itself. I wear different hats, work with different organizations, but for now we're going to be talking about the Parents' Conference and the work that we're doing with it.
Yeah. So who came up with this idea?
The idea itself was, we were at a basketball tournament last year, and one of our associates that worked with the city said, would you be willing to spearhead this, right, for parent conferences across the city to focus on some of the issues that you continually speak about.
Yeah.
And we said, yeah, because we've got the whole network already.
Yeah.
So it was just fitting that we sit down, sketch out a plan, and starting to make it happen.
And what are you guys hoping to accomplish with the conference?
I think for us, in terms of the Parents' Conference, it's about bringing parents together.
Yeah.
Parents together to identify what are the resources and support. Because parenting today is difficult, is different from what it used to be 20 years ago, 10 years ago.
That's true.
There's different challenges, different obstacles that need to be addressed, and you have to be aware of them. And we can't parent without being in tune with these changes. So the parent conferences are about education and awareness.
Yeah.
It's about engagement. It's about bringing unity to the community, and it's about bringing the community together to talk about the issues that impact them, and then to seek answers to how do we address them and move forward.
And what's the main issue that you feel like is coming up between the parents?
I find it's more of just navigating what's happening with their young people, with their kids or children rather.
Yeah.
And they're getting, as we get into this multimedia, social media age where everything is fast and it's accessible via your hand, the palm of your hands. I think the parents are just, it's leaving, like at the rate that it's going, it's leaving some of the parents behind. And so they want to get caught up. So it's, what's happening with my child? Where are they? What's this social media all about? And yeah, I think that in a nutshell just creates this air of uncertainty for the parents. So that's what I find kind of is most repetitive as far as something that comes up. There's other issues as well.
And some of the other issues are about community safety.
Yeah.
Community safety. In terms of what's going on in your community. And how do you get involved in making your community more healthy and more safer? And another thing that comes up constantly is, who do I call when I need help, right?
That's a big issue.
And sometimes the help is out there, but they don't know how to contact it. Like a lot of the service agencies have this 9-to-5 service model. If I need help at 6 p.m., where do I go when everybody's closed, right? How do I, hold my ground as a parent and learn more about the resources and helps that are out there, and how do I access them when I need it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this conference is about. It's about bringing all these agencies together under one roof so people can see.
Yeah.
And another model that we like to do, or to bring forth through these conferences, we have one of the main events. One of them is the panel discussion, where we have a diverse panel of community members, former residents, current residents, service providers, all these stakeholders in the community. We put them at a table for a real talk discussion. And one piece that I like is that we started to adapt bringing on a police officer or the policing piece in the community. So we bring a representative there, preferably a police officer, because as you're talking about concerns for the parents, I think a lot of that interactive piece with their kids when they're not around. So the police interacting with the young people, that's a concern to them. As far as what's happening out there, how did my kid end up at the booking station, and you know what I'm saying? So we bring them out there to just give us a feel of what's happening, how they're doing it, and how they can actually support or speak to that side of the fence, pretty much.
Right.
And one other thing is about education, navigating the education system.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to have pathways there. We're going to have educators there. You know, like when my son is having difficulty in school, how do we make it right? How do we correct situations without them exploding into a suspension or an expulsion? How do I use the education system as a means to get my children to achieve their maximum potential and get onto college, university? How do we get them to aspire for greater things?
Yep.
Because sometimes if you're not doing this from the beginning stages, it's too late.
It is.
At some other time. So these are the pieces of the puzzle that we try to address at the conference itself. And that's why you're going to see the reflection of the people that are there. They represent different sections in society. Then they all intersect with your children. So you better know who they are.
Yeah, that's true. Because like as a youth myself, a student myself, when I was younger, I realized I didn't have that much knowledge until I started growing up and going to different events and seeing different things. That's when I started gaining more information. It was more better for myself.
And it's also good for the parents, because if the parents know and the students know, it's easy to work it, right? Where it stands right now, they're finding out, but it's too late. If I had known, I would have done this differently, or I would have made this decision differently.
And me being I host all of these events, I find that with this one here, this is our last one for the year. Hopefully we continue, because there is we're having requests for more and to continue it. So I'm glad about that. But I'm going to really push at this one, the education piece, and tying it into the parents as well, because I always find that a lot of the services and resources put out in communities, or these type of communities, low-income communities, they're focused on the youth, right? And parents, which are the caregivers, usually, they're left out. And there's language barriers, education barriers. There's a lot of things that could help the household by helping the head of the household, right? So that education piece is definitely something I want to pitch to parents, as far as, it's not too late for you as well.
Yeah.
To get some of the pieces that you may feel you need to be successful in the country.
Yeah. At the parent conference, who's involved? Who participates?
Okay, so the format is, we're going to do 2 major presentations. One presentation is going to be, as gentleman spoke about, is social media. What is going on out there? What is social media, right? Where is your children spending the most of their time? What are they saying? What is their language? What is the content, right? Because sometimes you look at social media and a parent says, that's not my son. It is your son. Yeah. Okay? So we're going to do one about social media. And 2 young men from Regent Park are going to be leading that presentation. Okay. And then the next presentation at the beginning is going to be by a group called Phoebe, Families Impacted by Incarceration. If somebody in your family is locked up, how do you maintain your integrity, your dignity? How do you function? How do the children deal with this whole issue that my breadwinner or my sibling is in jail? How do you stay sane? How do you stay functioning as a family, right? And what are the supports that are available, right? Yeah. So we're going to have somebody from Phoebe here. Her name is Aisha Francis. She'll be speaking. The 2 young people are going to be talking about social media. Then we're going to have a break. And then we're going to come back with another small presentation by an organization called UMove. Okay. United Mothers Opposing Violence Everywhere. This organization has been around for a few years, but they are families, parents that have lost their children to gun violence. How do you wake up in the morning and still have a smile on your face when you know that your son is buried in the ground, or your 2 children are buried, right? Where do you go for help? Where do you go for assistance? Where do you go for support? Yeah. So those are the 3 presentations that we're going to do at the beginning. And then after that, we're going to get into the panel discussion. And who are some of the people in the panel this year?
So on the panel, we have, I have a list here, just so we get it right. We have Pathways to Education, as we mentioned, Regent Park, Focus Pathways to Education, Judy Dunn, from Peace Builders. We have representatives from OGEN, which is the Ontario Justice Education Network. Deanne Peters is a community member. Jean Linton, I'm sure most Regent Park folks know this person as well. Regent Park Community Health Center. And we also have Justin First. That includes Fardy Flex and my man Rod. And we're gonna have, hopefully somebody from Toronto Police Services.
Yeah. So those are the ones that are going to be on the panel. But the most important people at this conference is the parents.
Yep.
It's the parents, right? So we're going to do our presentations per se, but at the end of the day, it's about the parents, right?
I understand this is the 4th conference. Where have you guys had the other ones?
So the other ones have been, the first one we held at Scarborough Civic Center. The second one was at the Oakdale Community Center in the Jane and Finch area. The third one was in Lawrence Heights. And the 4th is in your hometown, in our hometown here, Regent Park. Like the backdrop, you know what I mean?
And so why did you guys choose Regent Park?
There was a need. We were going to do one in the east, west, north, and south.
Okay.
We're going to do 4 of them initially. That's what we agreed to do. But then what we found out is that people said, well, why don't you come to my community? Why don't you come to this community? So we're trying to include that. So gentlemen alluded to it. This is the 4th one. This won't be the last one. Yeah. Because there's already the demand for one in Alexander Park, one in Rexdale. Like we're expanding this.
Yep.
But as we do this, we're getting better at it. But also we're responding to the interests of the communities.
Yep.
Right? Right. If they see this adding value to what they're doing, yes, we will be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to add to that because Louis March was talking about having the community involvement, and I think that's very important as far as our process. We just don't come in and say we're doing something in Regent Park, and here it is. No, it's from the ground up.
Yeah.
So we come out, we connect with those folks that move around the ground, on the ground, right? So those frontline people, we let them know about what's happening. Do you think it'll be of any interest? If there is, okay, connect us to everybody else. Let's have a discussion. And once the discussion is favorable and folks are saying, yes, let's do this, then we roll from there. And we get parents involved, and we get other stakeholders, and then here we are today. We made some connections here at Regent Park. Focus, like we go around, we canvass the area. You see this man everywhere. He's all over the city. Remember, I tell you, he got his backpack. He doesn't wear the backpack anymore, but he has a bag with him. He's everywhere. So that's the kind of work. It's guerrilla style.
Yeah, I understand.
Right?
And one other thing that we're going to do for the Regent Park is we have a champion within the community. So whatever we discuss and we agree as being important to move forward, Peace Builders has agreed, right, to take note of it and move these things forward. So we're not just coming in, parachuting in a conference and leaving, right? We're planting some seeds, we're making things happen, and we're gonna nurture them.
Yeah. So tell me about you guys. Like, how did you guys get involved together? Your first movement, where you guys started?
So my connection with Mr. March is actually I first met him when he was when this was just a thought, the zero gun violence movement, and he'll get into that piece. It was just a thought, and as I said, he goes around, he does his work. Yeah. So he came to an agency, or not an agency, an organization that I was at, and presented, hey, this is what I want to do, and he came to some young people, right, and that's critical, and I like that. So he came to some young people, this is what I want to do, what do you all think? We gave him some ideas. Some people were even, some naysayers, but what I liked about his leadership and his demeanor, he said, okay, I can fit, it's valid. Yeah. If it needs to be taken back, I can take it back and come back to you. And he did that, and he came back. So I liked that about him, and that stood out to me. So from that inception of that thought, and it started to get off the floor, and then we just started connecting, and we've been down it's been 3-4 years, and we've been down ever since. Anything he needs, I'm there. Anything I need, he's there. And that's how we roll.
Yeah, family.
In terms of zero gun violence movement. Like just the name in itself, people think we're lunatics because they say it's impossible to have zero gun violence in the city. There will always be violence. We beg to differ because we say we already have zero gun violence in the city of Toronto. And that's a really think we've gone cuckoo, right? But it's only in certain parts of the city for certain people. So we, as a group, we got together and said, what do we need to do different so that whatever is working in this part of the city where there's no gun violence, why can't we transfer it into this part of the city where violence is the norm, right? So we have this very ambitious goal to have zero gun violence, safe, healthy communities, not for only parts of the city and not for another part. So we are a movement of over 40 organizations, agencies, programs that are committed to making this a right city, a just city, not for some, but for all. It's a very lofty, ambitious goal, but we're working towards it. And there's some incredible people doing some incredible work in the city of Toronto right now, right? In 2005, we had 52 homicides due to gun violence. Last year, we had 26. That didn't happen by chance. We have incredible people, gentlemen. Even the network of people that work with zero gun violence movement, they're all doing their part. But we just need to do more, right? To make this work. Like, you know, we have plenty of work ahead, but we've got some good people, but we need to just do it better and get bigger at how we do it.
The more involved, the more we can do.
Yeah.
And so that's for the last thing. Any future plans or your goals where you guys want to see the movement going, even with the parent conference?
For me, I would like to, you know, this parent conference needs to happen in every low-income community. I mean, it could benefit outside of that, but this is the focus. This is the ground. This is what we know. These are our people that we touch every day and that we know need this. So I would like to see it touch every community, and you know, I would like to see it grow. I would like to see it grow to maybe doing it at the ACC. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Air Canada Center?
Yeah.
We're going to take a little break and then come right back.
All right. Cool.
Air Canada Center.
You're close.
Was it like commercial time?
Yes, commercial time.
How long was that?
Just FYI, I'm not going to be able to respond when you ask a question because it echoes throughout the studio and everyone's going to hear it. Okay. Okay. All right, we're on in 5, 4.
What's going to be different about this parent conference?
Yeah, that's a big question. It's a big question because as we travel across the city, we see workshops, we see conferences, we see meetings, and it seems as though people play in communities, right, you know, and not really making a difference. And we've been mindful of that. So the whole organizing effort for this parents conference is about community engagement. The organizations, the agencies that are involved, the people that are involved, they come from the community, right? And they're the ones that are injecting the ideas as to what this should look like. You know, we have a couple of pieces that we will put in, right? But at the same time, it's a communities conference for the parents in their community, right? And I think that's important. And I think another thing that's important is we've got a champion, right? Pathways, Peace Builders have been big supporters of this initiative. And Peace Builders have actually signed up to say they will move the action items forward. Right, Jay?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So to touch on that, I think that's a big piece that's going to be a bit different from maybe other presentations, workshops. We're going to actually come out with, you know, maybe 2 or 3 action items, doable action items, and have a lead organization, a lead body from within the community to see it through, to lead that piece, right? So, I mean, you got it happening from the ground up, from the community, with the community, for the parents. And I don't think a lot of presentations or programs or services that come into the community have this big focus on the parents, like this conference does, and lastly, it's the action items that are going to be carried out.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a bit. Those three key points there.
And you know something? Another thing that we've learned from the other ones is, if we're going to have a discussion about parents, where's the children? Where's the youth then?
Yeah.
So we are going to include the youth in the program itself, because the parents need to have the youth there, and the youth needs to know what the parents are saying, right? Because the youth have stories to tell.
Yeah.
We have to give them voice, so the parents can hear from their, not someone else saying, well, you know, this is what your children are saying or doing.
From their
right?
own children.
So we've developed the whole process as we've done these conferences, and I think this one is the one that's going to be a reflection of all those improvement opportunities in terms of the champion, in terms of the youth participation, right? And making sure that we have somebody to move the action items forward, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that zero gun violence movement? You move, Phoebe, parachuting into your community, into Regent Park, and say, oh, guess what? We've got the silver bullet. We've got the solution to all your problems. That ain't what it's about. This is about a community discussion. You know, people always say, you know, well, we're going to take the streets back. No, we don't take the streets back. We're taking our children back, right? And we know how difficult it is to parent today, right? And we're going to provide some support, some resources, some ideas for parents can go to.
Yeah.
Not after it's too late, but when they need it.
And I wanted to mention that within the vicinity, within the space, we're also going to have service providers. So agencies, we're going to have info booths from the service providers and agencies that work in the community, right? So, I mean, that happens from time to time. People have info booths. But that's an element that we felt was necessary here, because we're extracting, we're pulling out the people that need to be there. And some of these people that we're pulling out don't necessarily go to these agencies or supports. And we're bringing them to a place where they can actually interact, register on site, get the information they need, maybe for their families, that sort of thing. And we're going to give the services and agencies time on the microphone to speak to the community.
Okay.
You know, and that seldom happens.
And is there any new projects or anything else happening?
Projects as far as, can you elaborate just a little bit?
For yourself.
For yourself?
For myself.
Or
Yes, I'll let you go first.
Okay, in terms of zero gun violence movement, when you look at what we're trying to accomplish, the most important thing for us is education and awareness. Let people know zero gun violence movement is achievable. So we bring a different narrative about gun violence that you're not going to see in the traditional media. You're not going to hear from the police, because the people that work for zero gun violence movement, a lot of them are involved in this lifestyle. So they're going to bring that piece. So we will go into schools, we go into universities, and we listen, right? These kids here now become part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. So our work continues, right? With parent conferences, we do workshops, we go to schools, we make presentations to government policymakers, right? But our thing is about bringing community together and being part of the solution instead of the problem itself. So for us, we will continue our work, and this is just one piece of how we do our work.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I feel over the last maybe 3 years maybe, I've given a lot, 3-4 years, maybe more. I've given a lot to community work, being in the field, giving back, showing some of these young people the way. And you know, my art form has suffered a bit. And when something keeps you up at night, you know you should be, there's a reason. So these next 12 months, I'm gonna really indulge, get back into my music. We're working on music, so you'll see some new music, impactful music. We're trying to win a Grammy out here, so look out for it. But it'll still embody everything I am. It'll embody the struggle that we talk about, our successes, and where we're going with it. And it's just me.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Well, thank you. For the details for the parent conference?
It's going to be on Saturday, December the 17th, Regent Park Community Center from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Yep.
Okay. Free admission. There's going to be childcare. There's going to be not food. There will be refreshments. There will be entertainment. Like, we want to make sure that if you're going to take 5 hours out of your Saturday to attend, we want to make sure it's a value add, that you're going to feel good about it, and we don't want to make sure it's not a waste of time. So they can phone 416-577-3908 for more information, or just speak to your community organizations and agencies. They will know. They don't have information about this parent conference.
Okay.
And I'll be your host, so come and check us out. You know what it is, Regent Park Focus. We in the building, man.
This is Keisha here with Jada Man and Louis March from Zero Gun Violence Movement. And thank you for watching RPTV.